So what strategy will you use when you want to build a property portfolio? Now, some people want to buy the family home, the principal place of residency from the very beginning, and then invest in property. Some people want to rent a property and then invest at the same time when they call it rent vesting. Now, a lot of people will say to them, and this might come from your parents or people that are in your family, or family members, what strategy to use when you want to build wealth and build a property portfolio? Do you want to purchase the family home, the principal place of residency from the very beginning, or do you want to rent vest? So rent where you want to live and invest in property. Now, people tell you all the time, and some of these people can be your family members, saying, don't pay someone else's mortgage. That's bullshit. You don't want to be paying someone else's mortgage. You want to buy your own place and then invest in property first. You shouldn't be renting and investing in property. That's the wrong move. That's wrong strategy. You don't get ahead like that. Now, I want to break it to you that some of the greatest property investors in the world, people like Grant Cardone, who's got a $1.5 billion property portfolio, who rents. Robert Kiyosaki, the author of Rich Dad, Poor Dad, owns over 6,000 properties, Rentvests as well. These people break it down and they talk about not owning your own home because it's a liability. Now, look, I'm not going to agree with them because everyone's got different desires, everyone's got different, circumstances, and depending on where they are, they might want to purchase the family home because they've got a family and they want to be secure and they want to, they love where they live, or they love a certain area and they want to live there for the rest of their life. Now, some people got a different perspective and they want to build wealth first and then rent and invest in property. So there's no right or wrong. You can use your property that you first purchased as a family home to invest in property down the track. But let's talk about the pros and cons. So let's say you purchase your family home, your principal place of residency from the very beginning. Now, and then you're going to go down the track and invest later on. What are some, the pros? I guess you've taken advantage of the first home buyer's grant, that where you don't have to pay stamp duty depending on the amount of the property that you've purchased it at. Now, this helps you not pay that stamp duty. It helps you save money, helps you get in the market, and it can help you put that money towards a deposit as well. So it's a great way to take advantage of that. As well, you're a pride ownership. You own a property. You can't get evicted. You are the owner. You're now in the market, which is a beautiful thing. Next thing, capital gains. You do not have to pay capital gains when you sell the home you've been living in for a certain number of years, which is an amazing thing. You can live in that property, and then you decide you're going to change location, sell the property, and the capital gains that you're cherished from, purchasing a location and it's grown X amount, you get to keep that capital gains. You don't get taxed on it, and you can use that to put to another purchase. Stability. You can't get evicted. You can't get kicked out of the home. Your landlord can't turn around and say, you know what, I want to move back in here. You got to go and find a new place. So it gives you the opportunity to stay there. You got stability. You can bring up your family and you can stay there for a number of years. Renovations. Now, you can add value to your property. You want to knock down a wall, open up the living and dining area. Maybe you want to put some landscaping, or maybe put a pergola in the backyard, or extend the garage, whatever it may be. You can do that because it's your property. You've got the right to. Next thing, forced appreciation. So everything you do to the property renovation, adding value to the property as well. So that helps you increase the value of the property as well. Then you can leverage off it, and then you can use it to buy more property. So that's another strategy that people can use, that own their own home, by leveraging of it and improving the quality of the property, getting a valuation, and then they use that to go purchase more property. Now, what are some of the cons? So when it comes to finance, the banks look at your principal place of residency as a liability. And what I mean by that is they look at it as a liability because you're having to pay down all the expenses. So your principal repayments, your interest repayments, your insurance, if you've got body corp, or if it's a freestanding house, your insurances, if you've got your rates, your water, electricity, etc. All those things there you have to pay from your own pocket. You don't have renters that can come there and they're paying for majority of your rents, so you're going to have to put down that money yourself. So when it comes to finances, your borrowing capacity can be shot. And 9 times out of 10, people that do purchase their family home, they normally purchase something that I guess is quite towards their maximum borrowing capacity. Because why? It's an emotional attachment. Of course, you want a beautiful home. Of course, you want to have everything that you've desired to be in that sort of location, that sort of home that you're targeting. So as well, it can kind of be a bit of a burden on your finances at the moment. At that period. Next point, flexibility. I guess you don't have the flexibility to just get up and leave straight away. You have to then rent out the property. You have to get everything lined up, and it's a little bit different from renting. So it's a little bit more involved. Then you have to get a property manager, etc. And I guess if you're living in the property for a number of years, there's going to be a lot of stuff around the house that you have to clean up and quickly get out of there if you're going to rent out the property. So that can be a bit of a downfall sometimes. As well, it's a slower way to building wealth as well from the very beginning. So if you've done it from the very beginning, maybe you rent vested or you invested in property and you're at home and you're someone that's a youth, you've stayed at home, or maybe let's say you're rent vesting, you've gone ahead quicker because you're investing in property and you're sacrificing the family home for later down the track. So the cons are, I guess, it's a slow way of building wealth. Another thing, there's no tax advantages. So from the very beginning, if you have to sacrifice maybe 5 years because you purchased the family home, you're going to pay down that debt as well. You don't get any tax benefits from your principal place of residency. You can't claim all your expenses. You can't claim depreciation, which is the number one thing that a lot of property investors use to help lower their taxable income. So if you don't know what that is, watch our last video where we've talked about depreciation. It's where if you get a depreciation report, a report on the video, a report on the property, a depreciation report. Let's just say it comes back and it says you can reduce your taxable income by $10,000 in the first year. That means if you're paying $20,000 in tax and you're at the $90,000 threshold, that means you're only paying $10,000 in tax because that property is reducing it by $10,000 because you got a depreciation report. Watch our video if you haven't watched it yet, which will take you back and explain depreciation, which is a great tool to use when building wealth. Anyway, keep moving forward. There's no income. So you don't have any tenants in the property and you're not producing an income. So you are the person that is paying for the property. So like I said, that's going to have, a negative attachment to your finance situation. So anyway, let's keep moving forward. Let's go to rent vesting. So if you rented where you wanted to live and invested in property, I guess you're purchasing your family home or your dream home later on down the track. Now, 99% of Australians that purchase their first home, if it's their family home as well, they're not going to be living in that home because 9 times out of 10, they're going to move on and get another home. So this is something where you sacrifice and you purchase the actual dream home later on down the track that you truly want. Because we're never satisfied, I guess, with the very first purchase because sometimes it's what we have and what we can afford at that particular time. I guess it's a pro of rent vesting is you're building wealth faster and quicker. Now, as you're renting, okay, you got to pay rent, but you don't have all the other outgoings that's attached to you. And all the other outgoings, I guess, that you have as an investment property, which I'll touch on later on in these touch points, they're tax advantage. So you're actually helping your taxable income and you're helping reducing your tax as well and getting rebates. So it's a faster way and a quicker way. As well, while it's a faster way of building wealth, depending if you're a business owner, you can claim a certain portion of your rent as well living at home or at a rental property, which is a great way. Now, another thing, flexibility. If you're someone that likes to be flexible and you like to not get stuck in a certain location for 1 to 2 years and you like to move on after that point, it gives you the opportunity to take off and say, you know what, travel and go to different states or territories. Another benefit is improving your personal income and receiving cash flow from your rental income. It's a great way to increase your personal finances. And what I mean by that, which is later on where it says, where I've got in the touch points here, a better borrowing capacity because you're receiving an income from your properties. And let's just say your properties are cash flow positive. Let's go round numbers, $10,000. Let's say you're making $60,000 gross from your personal income from your job. Now, how you get more borrowing from the banks is by earning more money. So if your investment properties are producing, let's say, $10,000, your very first one, that's adding on towards your $60,000 income per year. So that's gone up to $70,000. Now, of course, there's a debt to income ratio, but not just that. If you do it correctly and you understand finance and you have the right team around you, you can actually keep increasing your borrowing capacity as you build wealth. Of course, you'll hit limits, but you can do it faster and quicker if you understand the game of finances. Next point, tax advantages, tax benefits. Like I said, you can get a depreciation report on all your investment properties. That's helping lower your taxable income, which is amazing. If you've got multiple properties, let's say you've got 3 investment properties and 3 of those investment properties are receiving $10,000 off your taxable income in the very first year for a certain number of years, and that's 3 properties there, that's $30,000 off your taxable income. You're probably thinking, what, that sounds too good to be true, which it is. That's why a lot of property investors use this strategy to help reduce their taxable income. It's an amazing strategy. So as we keep moving forward, I've talked about improving your borrowing capacity. Not just that, when you rentvest, you don't have a liability on your head. So you have assets only and no liability. So as you're renting, you don't own that home. But if you own multiple investment properties, they're assets. The banks look at it. They don't look at it as a liability, depending on what type of assets they are. If they're cash flow positive, but if they're negative, that can be a downfall as well. So understanding that if you do the right analysis and those properties are an asset, they're going to help you build wealth and keep moving forward. I guess you're not locked in. Same thing with flexibility. You're not locked in, but you got the opportunity to move around, which is a good thing. So it helps you be flexible. Trying before you buy. So this is a great way for if someone wants to rent-invest and use this strategy, and you say, I want to use this for, let's say, 4 years, and I'm looking at a location, and I'm just going to rent-invest and build a property portfolio, and then I'm going to try different locations and see what I like. I want to live here for 1 year and see if I enjoy it. If I don't enjoy it, I want to move on, go to another place. So it's a great way to have a look at markets. Next thing, forced depreciation. So let's say you've got investment properties, similar to what I touched on with, if you own your own home, you want to renovate the property, you want to add value to it. You do that, why? Increases value. Why you increase value is because then you release equity and you use that equity to purchase more property. Great way to get ahead. What are some of the cons? Stability. You don't have any control of that property. So if the landlord comes in and says, you know what, sorry, tenant, you have to move. You have to vacate. I want to move back in. You have to pack up your bags and move. It can be quite annoying, quite painful, and stressful. No one likes to move sometimes if it's in a short amount of time as well, if you've just settled there. Capital gains tax. You're going to have to pay capital gains. If you own the property for more than a year, you're going to pay 50% capital gains tax on the earnings of the capital growth of that property. Where, let's say you have a property, you purchased it for $300,000. Let's say you sold it for you sold for $400,000 2 years down the track, you're going to have to pay $100,000. That $100,000 in equity, that you've gained, you're going to have to pay 50% of that, of the value of that $100,000. You're going to have to pay in tax. So that's a downfall. Maintenance costs. I guess you're always going to do repairs to the properties, and that's something that comes with the investing game as well. I guess if you want to add renovation, so if you're renting, you can't add value to the property. So if you're renting in a particular location and you're at your house and you want to knock out a wall, or if you want to paint the property, or if you want to extend or add a bit of gardening, you really can't because it's not your property. So you're very limited to what you can do to it. Now, damages. So when you're rentvesting your assets, your investment properties, I guess they're going to occur damages from their tenants. Tenants are going to come in there and they might do some malicious damages. Maybe they might tear up the carpet. They might bring dogs and cats in there, and they might pee or poo on the carpet, and you're going to have to change that when they vacate. So that's a downfall. As well, if you get the wrong tenant, it can hurt, and if they don't pay their rent, it's going to cost you money as well. So there's always downfalls as well when it comes to investing, and I guess when you're renting at the same time as well. But regardless, if you own your own home, but investing in property there's some downfalls from your tenants and destroying the property. But look, rentvesting is a great way to get ahead. Like I said, when you look at the tax benefits, it's going to help you build wealth. As well, if you look at liabilities and assets, you look at it as an asset because if you've got properties that are producing income, the banks look at it as a positive. It's going to help you with your borrowing capacity as well. So, and as well, there is a little bit more to sacrifice, not getting the family home from the very beginning, and you're waiting and getting it down the track. But it gives you the opportunity to actually buy the home that you truly want. Like I said, 99% of first home owners don't live in that property for the rest of their life. So it gives you the opportunity to say, you know what, we're going to sacrifice for a number amount of years and then purchase the family home. So hopefully you got some value from this video. I just wanted to break it down a bit of rentvesting versus, purchasing your principal place of residency from the very beginning. You can see there's pros and cons from both sides of things. For me personally, my benefit, I rent vest. I own multiple properties, and I don't have the desire at this point in time to purchase the family home. I like to build wealth and build my property portfolio to a certain point, and then when I feel like I'm settling down and I want to buy a family home, I'll go down that route. At the moment, I feel I want to build wealth and keep, going along that path. Now, for everyone that don't use this analogy, they want to purchase a family home from the very beginning, and it's probably because they got a family, or it's because they like a certain location and they want to live there for a number of years. There's nothing wrong with that. Everyone's got different situations. So hopefully you got a lot from this video, and hopefully I broke it down enough for you to understand, I guess, the pros and cons of rent vesting, and same goes for purchasing your family home from the very beginning. If you like this video, please like, subscribe, share this video with other people so they get a bit of understanding about rent vesting as well. I think it's a great way to get ahead. Like I said, some of the best investors in the world here use this concept, and it helps them build wealth faster and quicker. So thank you once again for watching the end of this video.